Welcome back to the PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner, where I give it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. We got some breaking news we want to talk about today. An issue that happened in California. We're gonna speak about that. I'm gonna touch up on a few things brothers made me aware about in the pit bull community, and just see how my brothers and sisters doing today across the world, across the globe, man. Hope everybody having a great day, great evening, great morning. Just depends on when you're watching this video. Big shout out and big salute, like I always say, to everybody that's taking care of them pets out there, no matter where you at on this earth, man. Like I always say, I got people that rock with me from every single continent on this earth. So big shout out to y'all, man. Big thanks and much appreciation to all my folk that's rocking with the Bay. Before we get into it, don't forget to get your copy of the Pitbull Encyclopedia. You can get it from me, or you can order it from Amazon directly. It giving you all the information you need to take care of a dog or your pit bull, or and pit bull history about the breed, to learn more about the breed, so y'all won't be walking around here talking about you got a gator pit because you got a black dog with a big head. Oh, that's a gator pit. Or you talking about you got a red-nosed Jocko. A red-nosed Jocko and a gator pit is some of the most some of the kind of bloodlines I hear often from people that don't know anything about these dogs. So get your copy of the Pitbull Encyclopedia and don't be square. Now, let's get into this dog talk, man. We got a video that we're going to be looking at today, and it's coming from California, where I gave y'all where a sheriff fucked up over here in South Carolina, where the sheriff was involved with the dog fighting situation. Well, we're going to California, where we got a sheriff deputy. He's in a pickle. I'm gonna say he's in a pickle because they were searching for a stolen vehicle. They were searching for a stolen vehicle. Somehow or another, he ended up in somebody else's backyard. He didn't end up there. He went there, made himself available to their backyard. The people had two dogs in the backyard, German Shepherd and a Rottweiler. The German Shepherd came up to the sheriff deputy first, as you're gonna see in the video, and the Rottweiler come up second. To make a long story short, he shot the Rottweiler, and he wasn't supposed to even be on that property. You can look from on the other side of that fence and see they're looking for a stolen car. You can look from the other side of that fence and see there's no stolen car on that property. So why are you entering this property? So my thing is, I want y'all to look at this video, and there's a few things that I noticed about the video that don't sit well with me, because it could have been any of our dogs. The thing is, these police officers with guns, with anybody with a firearm, I don't care if it's police officer or civilian, who it is, you're not supposed to use your firearm on anything unless it's life-threatening. If somebody is another person has a weapon or something that they can threaten your life, use your firearm. If an animal is coming that could be coming to bite you or something, yeah, use your firearm. But in this situation, I want y'all to look at this video carefully. And I say carefully, I mean carefully. In my opinion, which don't matter in this particular case because I'm not in California, I'm not gonna be on jury duty or none of that. But in my opinion, that guy used that firearm prematurely. If you look at the video closely, the same way he got in that fence, the same way he could have got out that fence. All he had to do is open the fence and step back out the gate. Step back out the gate. If you scared, because I know how a scared person move, right? We all know how a scared person move. If you scared, you're going to move a little bit different. You're going to try to get up out that fence. You can't get up out the fence, or you feel like you can't get up out there, then do what you got to do. But common sense will tell anybody, if you're not here, you don't have a warrant to be here, you don't have no kind of judge telling you to be here on my property, you just help yourself to open my gate and go in my property, and the dog is coming to bite you, you need to try to get out my gate legally, because if you hurt one of my dogs, you're not supposed to be here in actuality. Now, like I said, look at the video that you're about to look at, and in my opinion, that guy could have got out the fence before that Rottweiler actually bit him, you know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, again, the Rottweiler didn't show life-threatening, it wasn't a life-threatening situation. The Rottweiler came up to him. He pretty much shot the dog off the strength of what kind of dog it was. The German Shepherd came up to him. He didn't shoot the German Shepherd. The Rottweiler came up to him, and he didn't come up barking and maybe if he growled a little bit, okay. But that's not saying that your life is being threatened. You know, the Rottweiler didn't come jump up on him. He didn't didn't do any of that. The German Shepherd, the Rottweiler did no more than what the German Shepherd did. But the Rottweiler lost his life because of what kind of dog he was, in my opinion. If it would have been a pit bull, the same thing would have happened. Being that it was a German Shepherd, he gave the German Shepherd a benefit of the doubt. And he let him come up on him. You know? And the thing about it, a German Shepherd could be more vicious and bite harder than the bull breed or the Rottweiler dog, if circumstances was to put it like that, you know? So I'm just saying, look at that video. Another sheriff deputy screwing up. We got one coast, they're screwing up over in South Carolina, fighting dogs, and they're screwing up over there in California, shooting people dogs. You ain't supposed to be in their yard. You know what I'm saying? I hope, and then they let the other dog out. The German Shepherd, they end up letting the German Shepherd out the gate. And that's another thing I want to say. The brother dog got out the gate, he was picked up by animal control, and he had to pay $200 to get his dog back. You would think that city would have some decency about themselves and would have let that brother get his dog back knowing he went home. Now, see, they went home at the time. The dog didn't escape without that man coming in that backyard. You know, when I left my dogs, they were secure. Somebody came over my gate, my dog was able to escape. So I got to pay $200 to get my dog back. And let me say this, especially when we know who opened the gate. It wasn't a neighbor that opened the gate. It was the city. Somebody who worked for the city or the county, you know, the sheriff deputy. So being that the agency knows that one of their employees opened the gate and that's how the dog was able to escape. And being that the agency know one of their employees shot the dog, wrongfully shot that Rottweiler, you would think they would let that man get his dog back for free. You know, $200 something. So much power to that brother. I know he's trying to, I would take out a lawsuit. You know, I would take out a lawsuit, man. You can't put a price on somebody's dog. You can't tell me my Rottweiler is worth $200. You can't tell me my Rottweiler is worth $500. If it was a lawsuit, you know, lawsuit comes to the courts and you're trying to say, oh, we're only going to give them this certain amount. No, you can't say that. My Rottweiler is worth $200,000. This is the top of the line show dog. You can't put no worth on him. He's a family member. Family members are priceless. You can't put a worth on them. So like I said, in my opinion, I would take out a lawsuit. You know, you guys to put your foot down to make these folk abide by the law. If we gotta abide by the law gotta abide by the law. You see? Nobody should be able to break laws no matter what side of the fence you're on. You could be on the side where you're working for the law, you still shouldn't be able to break the law. The side of the fence where you civilians and people of the county and the city, you getting took to jail when you break the law. So why they don't have to abide by the law? You know? So it's a crazy situation, man. At the end of the day, it seems like the brother's gonna do something about it. I hope he does something about it. You know what I'm saying? He got all the pet lovers across the world backing him. You know, at least the true pet lovers. You're gonna have some people that's gonna say the police was in the right or the deputy was in the right. But I'm looking at the video, and like I said, if you look at that video, when that Rottweiler run up on him, he could have easily grabbed that fence. Hell, the German Shepherd got out anyway. You could have easily grabbed that fence and got up out of there. He didn't move like a scared person. He moved like a person that knew he had the right to shoot that gun, you know, and sometimes these folk don't realize there's cameras watching them. I'm gonna let somebody know this, anybody know this, and everybody know this. Right now, in today's time, there's cameras everywhere we go at. So, you being recorded, man. You know, if it ain't a Ring doorbell, it's the facility camera. If it ain't the facility camera, it's a store camera, or even down to car cameras. These cars we have a camera. You being recorded doing everything you do these days compared to back in the days. You know, and he didn't realize he was being recorded. You know, a real lawyer that's trying to get that money, that's trying to do what's right for that family, can win this case easily, hands down. You know, so I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna let y'all look at it, man, and I'm gonna speak about a couple more things when we're done. You know where you got it from first? It's the PBC Pelican Bay Corner, where I give it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some gonna like it, some ain't. Let's get into it.
A family left devastated after a sheriff's deputy shoots and kills a dog in its own backyard. The dog owner says that the deputies let themselves into his home while he was away while investigating something in the area.
KTLA Shelby Nelson live in San Bernardino, where she spoke for the dog owner who is demanding answers. Shelby.
MB, Micah, we do want to warn our viewers this video is graphic. Now, Jesus Serna says this happened at his San Bernardino home. And keep in mind, him and his family are not staying there right now because it's under construction. Every now and then, though, he'll bring his dogs there just for a little bit of protection because it's not in the best area. Well, the dogs were there at the time you're about to see in that footage. He says he is just angry over this. His dogs were part of his family.
It shows that the police department has no remorse for animals or literally anyone.
Jesus Serna is still trying to make sense of what happened Monday after video surveillance footage shows this deputy with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department entering into his San Bernardino backyard and killing one of his two dogs. A warning, the video is graphic. The deputy opens the gate.
My dog Raven walks up to him, friendly, wagging her tail.
The deputy then spots Jesus's second dog, Daisy, a Rottweiler, approaching him. He points his gun, and as Daisy barks and gets closer, he shoots her.
It's just defending its home.
Jesus, who works overnights, says he got a call from authorities that afternoon telling him what happened. He and his family are currently staying elsewhere while his home is under construction.
I asked them why were they there. They told me that it was due to a vehicle being near my home that was stolen. They attempted to knock on the door and then they let themselves in after.
Jesus says he's seen the vehicle before, but it had no connection to his house. Meantime, his other dog, Raven, was then taken to the DeVore Animal Shelter, where he picked her up today, having to shell out nearly $250. He wants to know why this happened and is hoping there's some type of disciplinary action.
The dog's been with us for 5 years. It's part of our family. They just randomly want to go into someone's house and do whatever they want.
The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department issued a statement saying that they are investigating the incident and the circumstances surrounding the discharge of the firearm. They said in part, while searching the property, the deputy encountered a homeowner's dog. During the encounter, the deputy discharged his firearm, striking the dog. A sheriff's supervisor responded to the scene along with animal control, and the homeowners were notified. The deceased dog was taken by animal control along with a second dog that was off the property and wandering in the street. Now, a department spokesperson confirms to me that they did locate that stolen vehicle, and yes, it was unrelated to Jesus's home or property. So no word yet on whether this warrants any disciplinary action, but there is an ongoing investigation right now. Detectives are looking over surveillance footage as well as body camera footage. That's the very latest from San Bernardino. I'm Shelby Nelson, KTLA 5 News.
Now you tell me if that brother could have got away or not. If he shot that dog and it was right, he was in the right of way to shoot that dog. You know, just in my opinion, like I said before, it don't look like he was in the right of way. You know, right is right and wrong is wrong. And in my opinion, it looked like he was wrong. You know, just drop down in the comments, drop down in the chat, tell me how you feel about that. How would you feel if somebody did your dog like that? What procedures or what steps would you take if somebody shot your dog in that manner? Would you take it and take out a lawsuit? Some people might want to press criminal charges. You know, I mean, it don't make sense for people with authority to abuse their power. You know, and we see it all too much across this board, man. It don't matter. Like I always say, it don't matter what color you is. We done seen black police officers abuse their power. White police officers abuse their power. Police officers of any kind of law enforcement officer should not be abusing their power. You know, you take these oaths to serve the public, to serve the people, but you're not serving the people and the public. You know what I'm saying? You're going there for your check and you're looking at the civilians and the people like we pray. Like we pray, and when I say pray, I mean pray like animals who prey on other animals. You know, we get gunned down, our animals get gunned down, our property get broken into, all different. We're not respected, and it's like because you law enforcement, everything's supposed to be all right. No, man, no, I don't see it being right in this situation. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, like I said, you had the sheriff from South Carolina screwing up. He broke the law. They what they did, they treated him just like a regular civilian, you know, like a regular citizen. They locked his ass up. They arrested him, you know, and charged him with dog fighting. In this situation right here, that man shouldn't have shot that Rottweiler. You know, I don't see no threat to that man that Rottweiler brought to the table that he was about to hurt him. If he could have been growling, maybe we didn't hear him growling on the video. Growling is not your life on the line. You shouldn't shoot a dog just because he's growling. He has the right to come up to you if you come into his yard. And then you come into his yard unwarranted. You're looking for a stolen car that man didn't steal that's in the neighborhood somewhere. You clearly see it. How the hell they gonna get the stolen car back there where you walking at? You know? Don't make no sense, man. So y'all know y'all got it from first, man. It's your boy PB K9s. I do want to say this, you know. Big thank you to the brothers that were looking at some of the old videos I dropped 3 or 4 years ago. I learned a lot of things about these dogs, certain bloodlines, since I started doing the news channel, because I met a lot of good brothers out here that know about different bloods, different dogs that we done spoke about. I remember one time I spoke about Macho Buck on one of my first videos I did. Y'all remember when you was rocking with me way back then? I said I was referring to Macho Buck and I was using Chico, you know, speaking about Chico Lopez, and I was speaking about Macho Buck. And the people that mattered spoke to me, you know. That's how I met the good brother Evo. He spoke to me about Macho Buck. Chico had nothing to do with Macho Buck, you know, in the way that I was speaking about him, man. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he didn't have eyes on Macho Buck or had hands on Macho Buck, but he had nothing to do with Macho Buck and the story that I was talking about. You know, I learned a lot of stuff about a lot of dogs over the past 4 years, you know what I'm saying? Things that I didn't know beforehand. You look at some of my old videos, you could tell they old compared to some of the stuff that I'm doing modern day time, and even the comments and things that I say about the dogs compared to back then. You know, it was uncharted territory when I was starting it back then. You know, I did a lot of videos. It wasn't, the dog channels wasn't speaking. Like I said, back then there was computer voices. You had a couple channels that was out during that time. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't get I wasn't getting my style to how I was gonna do it from them channels, you know. And big salute to all the brothers that was talking, that watched the Jocko versus Macho Buck that I did video about 4 years ago. Big thank you, my brothers, and big salute to you for watching that video. And this is the thing, now that I look back on it, Macho Buck didn't have a chance to win. If he did, you know, if Macho Buck didn't win back then, I don't remember how the video ended out because I haven't watched the video in a while. But if I had Jocko going against Macho Buck, you know I'm a Red Boy Jocko man. So 9 times out of 10, I was biased on a lot of things that I was speaking about when it came to Jocko and Macho Buck and comparing them, you know. But wise brother told me maybe I should compare Jocko to the 357. You know, might have been a better match when I'm talking about comparing. And when I was doing them videos back then, I was doing it like this right here. I was saying who had the better offspring, who it wasn't like a actual match of the two dogs going against each other. It was a versus on who had the better resume. That's what it was pretty much was. Who had the better resume between these dogs, between Jeep and between a Red Boy or Mayday or Yellow. You know, that's how I was doing it. Like, and then whoever win that match, I was like, okay, I had one with Jocko and Macho Buck. And then whoever win that match between Jocko and Macho Buck would go against the next dog in the next video, which would be like, I'm just giving you examples. Say if Jocko won that one, he'd go against Jeep in the next one. You know, and if whoever win that one between Jeep and Jocko would go against Grand Champion Yellow in the next one, or Zebo in the next one. You know, that's how I was doing it back then. You know what I'm saying? But big thank you to the brothers that watching the video. Man, you know, I've been kind of down on my shit over the past 24 hours to 48 hours because I did a great video for y'all brothers. I had some technical difficulties with the video. I gotta do the video, the interview again. You know what I'm saying? It was an interview. I gotta do the interview again, but it really inflated some of the air out my balloon. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. It really inflated, and I just had to sleep that shit off, man, and go shoot me a little bit of hoops and just clear my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it really fucked me up. You know, once I realized that the technical difficulties that occurred in the interview that I did. Great interview, my brothers. I'm still gonna give it to you. Just give me a few more days or whatever to get everything right. You know what I'm saying? It just, like I said, it deflated me. You know what I'm saying? I put a lot into it, and then it ended up fucking up on my end, not the brother end. Brother did everything he was supposed to do, and we had a great interview. You know, but I gotta do it again. You know, and like I said, it kind of took a lot of my energy, man. It took a lot of my energy not to do the interview, but after I realized the interview was, you know, having some technical difficulties. So y'all sit tight. I'm gonna give y'all that eventually. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody that been watching all the old stuff. You know, I got so many old videos, I don't even know half the stuff I've been talking about my damn self. When I go back and look at the stuff that y'all comment on, brothers, I be like, damn, I did that video. I did a lot of videos, you know what I'm saying? Been out here talking about these dogs for a few years now, man. And like I said, much appreciation to you, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. Remember where you got it from first. Remember who gonna give it to you, fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. You get it from the PBC. They don't do it like me, Pelican Bay Corner. And we out.